What is up, Pyromaniacs? Pyrostasis here. We are back in the world of EVE Online. Apologize, it's been about 8 days since our last video. Maybe 9, depending on when this goes up. Work was busy, and I'm off on vacation this week, so there should be a few more videos. Alright, so today's video is basically going to be talking about one of the main critical things that you as somebody trying to go from alpha to omega, or just being a new player, or, you know, just wanting money, and that's how to convert LP into ISK. So first off, let's talk about what is LP. If you click on the little Z on the left, and then you click on top right up here, you'll see Federation Defense Union. That is the Galente Faction Warfare Corp or whatever, and that's who you get all of your loyalty points from whenever you take sites anywhere in the war zone. So depending on where you are and whatnot, this is where you're going to be. All those points go into this pool. All right, so I don't have much. I have 80,934, and a lot of that's just due to the fact that my skills suck ass. But we're gonna work on that. So 80,934 is not really much. Let me get my calculator up real fast. So on the Amar side, we make about 700 to 800 per LP. So 80,934. We'll put it at 750, which is the midway point. That's 60 million. So if you're a new player, that's a lot of money, and that's pretty easy to get. If you're O-plexing, that's 2 sites. 2 sites for 60 million. You know, if you're D-plexing, obviously, like I've been having to because my ship sucks and I skill suck, that's probably 4 to 8 sites, depending on which one you're doing and everything else. So, but anyways, what we do with these points, you need to find one of the point stores. Now, there's a couple different ways you can do that. If you click on if you look right here, it will tell you the closest loyalty point store. You can just right click on that, set destination. You can also, I think you can click here. Yep. You can click here and it will pull this up. You click on stations. And to do that, it's just right click show info, in case that wasn't clear. Sorry. And you click on stations and it will show you all the stations, and it will sort them by distance of jumps. Now keep in mind, you're going to have low sec systems, which are anything below 0.5, and then you're going to have high sec systems, which are everything 0.5 and higher. So Valor would be safe, Filet or Fleet is not. So keep that in mind. That may or may not come into context with what you want to do. All right, so once you've figured out where you want to get your LP converted, then you want to set your destination there and head over there. All right, so once you get into the station with it, and then you get done doing your station spinning, which everybody has to do, it's EVE law. Top right-hand corner, you're going to see Loyalty Point Store. It looks like this little icon right here. Click on that, and that's going to open this up. Now, you may have multiple different stores here. I think it defaults to the one that you have LP for, but it kind of depends. Now, we're going to go ahead and scroll all the way down to the bottom so that we can see the stuff that we can kind of afford. If you click on this little cog here, there are a variety of different filters and stuff that you can do. I like to check show affordable only because that gets rid of all of the junk that you can't afford, which you can't do anything with anyway. But for the sake of this video, we are going to leave it on show all because there are a few things here that I'm going to want to show you. So, depending on what you want to do, you know, you can save all the way up to, you know, some of these big daddy ships, 1 million LP, 200,000 ISK, and that's going to get you a Moros BPC. Now, the way to look at this is you have the LP cost, which is the initial charge here. You have the ISK cost, which is what you will pay. I know it's kind of fucked up. When I first started playing and doing this, I was like, wait. I go out, I bust my ass in the Plex, I do the hard work, I come in to turn in my tokens for stuff, and they want me to pay them? Yeah, they dicks like that. But it works out. It works out, but it is a tax, and as a new player, this is going to hurt you pretty badly because some of these things take a little while to sell, and if you don't have the liquid capital to invest, then, you know, it is what it is. Be careful buying some of these big things too, because for a variety of reasons. One, you're probably in low sec and you're gonna have to get this shit out, and there's a chance that you could die. Two, you don't know which of these big bad boy ships may even be usable. Most of the stuff, like the big dreads and stuff like that, are bought by, null blocks and things along those lines. And, if you price them wrong, or if the meta changes, or if, the LP store changes, your contract may last forever. So keep that in mind. Sorry, the weather has changed here and my nose is running like absolute crazy. Okay, so I want to show you guys a couple different ways to make ISK here early on. And you can kind of take some of this as, a grain of salt. This is my thought process. This may not be the best process, and if you have a better process, please feel free to leave it in the comment section down below to help people out if you care. Keep in mind this is Eve, so everybody does compete with everybody. So if you've got an uber secret trick that lets you burn a ton of ISK or LP for ISK, you may not want to share it. So I don't care. I'm just going to share everything I find personally. Somebody will be like, no, he's keeping his ultra secret shit. I'm not that smart. So this is just my general understanding. So, okay. So one of the things that I like right off the bat is upgrades. So you can use the LP store to reduce the cost of your expenditures. And what do I mean by that? All right, well, let me show you. Hang on, I gotta get a couple windows moved over, and I need to get this set up. One sec. All right, I think I have it. Had to blow my nose as it was about to start running a marathon. All right, so browser on. Hoping this picks up the right browser. Is it going to pick up any browser? All right, how about primary? There we go. Okay, so what we're looking at, let's go back to the Eve client here. So let me alt tab back in. So this is a Navy catalyst, right? So there's different types of ships. So let's do catalyst. So you have the default catalyst and you have the Navy catalyst. So this is the default catalyst and this is the Navy catalyst. All right. So these are very similar ships. They look almost identical, but there's going to be a slight difference between the two. So what's the difference between these two? Well, it looks like the Navy catalyst has a nice 7.5% bonus to armor repair amount. Well, 7.5% times 5, if you have Galente Destroyer 5, that's over what? Almost a 40% bonus, because 7 times 5 is 35, 0.5 times 5 is 2.5, so 37.5. So yeah, almost 40%. Almost 40% bonus to armor repair amount. So if you have an active tank, this is a massive deal. If we look at fittings, you can see that this is a little bit easier to work with. You get a little bit more CPU, a little bit more power grid. Although you get one less high power slot, you do get one more medium slot, and pretty much everything else is the same. So they're not always comparable. Sometimes they're completely different ships. It depends. So make sure you check your holes before you just assume, this Navy AUG is going to be a better AUG. Not necessarily. It might be a completely different ship. So take a look. But for our intents and purposes, you can see if we spend 12,000 LP and 3.5 million ISK, then we will get a blueprint here, or we can trade. And if we trade, we have to buy a catalyst, right? We bring the catalyst here. We trade that in plus 2 Galente Gamma Nexus chips for 30,000 LP, and for no money and no AK, I don't even know what AK is, for none of that, they will just give us one. So this basically allows you to upgrade an item into a Navy item. Okay, so why is that cool? All right, well, let's go look. Let me flip over here to not the right button. There we go. Okay. So with this, the Galente Gamma Nexus chip that we were talking about, that is, and we're looking at .exe, so you can look wherever you want. This is eveappraisal.com, it's a website I like to use. We're using .exe prices. Obviously, if you're willing to do JITA, you're going to get better prices. I don't really care because I'm lazy, but keep that in mind. So for a catalyst, that's going to run you 1.1 million ISK to purchase. The chips are 500,000 apiece on average. I think we needed, was it 2 or 3? So we need 2 chips. So if we do that whole thing, 2 chips is going to run us $1 million. Catalyst is going to run us $1 million. So 2.1 million ISK, and we can get a Navy catalyst. How much is the Navy catalyst? Navy catalyst is roughly 18 million. So that's a pretty decent swap. With that, you can then do one of 2 things. One, you can use it to turn your little crappy catalyst into a better catalyst, and you can just fly it. Or you can fly that catalyst back to .exe and sell it for a massive profit. So let's look at what we're looking at cost-wise there. So let me get a couple more calculator setups open. I could just do this in a spreadsheet, but I'm dumb, so we're not going to do it in a spreadsheet. We're just going to do it in Pyro dumbass math. Okay. So, catalyst right here, that's going to run us 100, 1, 2, 3. All right. And then we need 2 chips, so we're going to add another million. There we go. All right. So was there a cost in game? I don't think there was. So, no, but it will cost us 30,000 LP. Okie dokie. So, let's see. Flip back over. Damn it, that just gets rid of our calendars, doesn't it? Okay, there's 1. There's 2. All right. So it's, now we can see this in the background, which is nice. So for 30,000 LP, we can take 2.1 million and make it into 18 million. So if we want to find out how much that 30,000 LP is worth for us, because it might not be the best, what do you call it? It might not be the best use of the LP. So if we come back over here, we know that we can sell this for roughly 18.6. So that's good. So let's go back over here. This is ghetto as hell. I'm sorry. 18,600, 1, 2, 3, minus 2, 100, 1, 2, 3 equals 16.5 million divided by 30,000. Oof. Okay, so we're only making 550 ISK per LP. That sounds like a lot, maybe, but it's not really. Not only that, but you got to think a few other things. One, that's going to be slow. Unless you have a DST or a freighter, which is a new player you're definitely not going to have. Moving catalysts around, you're going to be doing them one at a time. And I think it's like 7 or 8 jumps back to .exe. So that might be too much for you. And it might take you an hour or 2 to get that. And in that hour or 2, you could run 8 more sites or 10 more sites, depending, and make even more ISK. So it might not be worth it. Let's look at something else. All right, so let's go back to the game. I do apologize if this is as ghetto as it is, but it is what it is. All right, so if we come back here, let's look at another option. And if you're smart and you looked at my thing, you may know what we're talking about. All right, so hobgoblins. Hobgoblins are a light drone. They're pretty much one of the best drones in the game. I love hobgoblins. A lot of Galente people use goblins. Hammerheads are also good. Ogres, they're okay depending on what you're doing with them. These are drones that are used throughout the galaxy. Okay, so let's look at the price here. Same basic general math here. If you look on the left side, it'll say required items. So you need 5 hobgoblins. Okay, so if we need 5 hobgoblins, and that's it, we don't need the chips this time. So how much is a hobgoblin? Well, a hobgoblin, that one's pretty damn cheap, actually. So hobgoblin is only 6,189. Okay, well, we need 5 of them. So that's 30,945. Not too bad. All right, is there an ISK cost? Like, are they going to destroy us on S? Let's look at that. Okay, well, they're going to want 3 million. All right, so plus 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That gives us 3,030,945. Sorry, 945 ISK. Okay, well, how much can we sell that for? Well, let's find out. So if we go back to our little sheet, we can roughly sell those. Oof. So that depends. If we want to instantly sell them, they're 760 a piece. If you'll notice here, this is a much closer ratio, but this is dramatic. So we're going to do the math on both, okay? So if we want a quick sell, that's 760,500 times 5. That'll give us 3.8 million. Okay. So we can basically get rid of those fairly quickly. but we're not going to make all that much because we take 3.8 minus 3030945, which is our cost. We're only making 701,000 each. And how much LP was this again? That's 3,000 LP. So divided by 3,000, and we're getting 257 LP, or ISK per LP. This is worse than the catalyst. Why would we ever do that? Well, let's do it the other way around. So if we go back and we look at the big price here. So this is 1.1 a piece. So let's do 1,133,000 times 5. That's 5.6 million minus 30309. Whoops, 945. That's 2.6 divided by 3,000. Oh, okay. That's 878 ISK. That's not too bad. So if we wanted 878 ISK and we looked at our entire purchasing power, which currently is 80,000. So if we drag one of our 14 calendar windows over, so we go 80934 times 80,000, roughly. That's not right. That's not right. Whoops. 80934 times 878. That's better. 71 million. That's not too shabby. You know what the other nice thing about hobgoblins are? They're tiny. They're very tiny. So the volume of these is 5M3, right? So how much can we store in our little setup? We could do over 20 of them. So 20 of them at a pop, we'd probably be making some pretty good dosh going back and forth. We'd probably run out of LP before we run out of cargo space. And keep in mind, you could bring up an Iteron or something like that in, or something with a little bit more cargo. This is an Atron, right? So it's not going to have much. But this would definitely give you the ability to do that. Now, these aren't the only options. Obviously, there are going to be others. Antimatter, this is a good one as well. One of the things you want to look at when you are looking at these things is to view market details, because you want to see, is this something that I can sell frequently? So you can see right now here in Filet, or Fleet, I'm always going to call that Filet, but I think it's Fleet is the actual name. So these are 500,000 a piece, right? So if we go back to the LP store, this is 1.2 thousand and 1.2 million for 5,000. So this is selling for 500. So if we look at the cost here, so we have 5,000 divided by, I don't think that's the right way to do it. 200, 123. No, I don't think so. Either way, do the math on it. My brain is fried this morning. I haven't had my coffee. Find out how much LP, or not LP, how much ISK per LP that you're getting here. So we've got 5,000. This is how much ISK we've got. And do the math on that. You can convert these all the way up. You have to look at how much you're paying for them, because you're going to buy the default charges. You need 5,000 default charges, and then you're going to have to pay the 1.2 million and convert that with the LP cost, blah, blah, blah. So it gets complicated, but a spreadsheet will do this for you. You can easily set up your spreadsheet. Once you get the math done and you're not stupid and tired like I am right now on your first cup of coffee, run the math. And then when you get to this, like right here, we're like, okay, well, this might work for us. Click on price history, and then come down here and look at these. This will tell you how much moves in this station. So you can see, oh, okay. Well, on the 26th, there were 12 orders for 51,000. Yesterday, there were 7 for 9,000, 28,000. So it looks like about 10K guaranteed a day sells. And then you get spikes of up to almost 100,000. So probably going to be able to move this fairly quickly if it's a decent rate for you. So if you like the rate, it's not too bad. So that's basically the gist of it. And again, you can stockpile this stuff. You can take it to JITA. You can have somebody take it to JITA for you. You can also use high sec buyback if you want. I don't really like high sec buyback because to me, they take too big of a cut, because they will pay you 90% of JITA buy. JITA buy, but that can be like a 60% price cut depending on what you can get, especially in some of these lesser trade hubs. If you're willing to do the work and wait a little bit, you can make some pretty good dosh. So I don't know, man. It's up to you. Depends on what you want to do, how you want to do it. Do you want to do ammo? Do you want to do drones? Do you want to do ships? Do you want to do all of the above? Just make sure that you do the math on them. And everybody jokes that Eve is just literally internet spreadsheets, and people are like, I don't understand why you gotta have so many spreadsheets. Well, I think you understand right here, because I have like 15 calculator windows open right now, and it's just so much easier to make a spreadsheet where all you do is plug in the ISK cost, plug in the LP cost, and then plug in the cost of whatever you have to buy, hit enter, and then it will do that calculation for you. So if you guys want a video on how to set that up, let me know, and then I can make one, because I don't have one right now for LP, because what I usually do is BPCs. What I personally do on the MR side is I buy, okay, like this right here. Well, no, let's do it this way. I want blueprints. There we go. All right, so you can see we've got different stages of blueprints here. I like the blue one. So like Vexor Navy issues, this would be something I would make over there. So it's going to cost me 18,000 LP and 5 million ISK. So I will buy this. This is a one-run copy, and I have a alt up there. And then I look at the costs of these materials here. I take the cost of these materials, how much I can sell this for, and then I take this, reduce it from how much I can sell it for, and then divide that by the ISK cost and LP to find out what my LP ratio is. And as long as the ratio is good, then I usually save up to like 1 million or 5 million LP, and then I'll buy like 100 Vexors, 100 Executors, like 200 Catalysts, and then like 150 of the frigates, et cetera, and then I'll just spend a week mass producing those with my alt, and then I'll just dump all of that on the market over a month, and then I basically have like 5 or 6 billion ISK rotating out. But that's kind of like high level, and you got to be really careful with because right now the mineral prices, especially isogen, at least in the sub hubs, fluctuate drastically. Like back when I did industry, back in the day when I played Eve, mineral prices were almost like the gold standard. They didn't fluctuate very often, right? So, it might go up or down by like 0.01, but TRIT was like 3. It was always 3. It might be 301 or 302, but it was 3. Well, isogen might be 600 one day, and then it might be 800 the next, and then it might be 500 the next, and it's moving like crazy. And part of that's because of the scarcity change, the way they changed Empire ores and low-sec ores and 0-0 ores, and what's available where. Back in the day, you used to be able to get almost everything but ABC ores in Empire. Now you have to go into low-sec or 0-0 to get certain ores, or wormhole space, and anytime you make people have to jump through more hoops and stuff like that, it cuts it. Plus, you've got the wars going on, and with the wars going on, there's a bigger demand for ships and such. So what that means is basically these mineral prices fluctuate. So what might have been a great deal for you last week where you're going to make bank, you're going to lose money this week. So you got to be very careful when you do longer term investments like that. But for new people, again, I'm rambling, so feel free to tell me to shut the fuck up in the comment section. For new folks, I would strongly recommend, things like cap boosters are good, ammunition is good, drones are great. These implants can even be good, but they're longer term investments sometimes. You want to make sure it's the right kind. So like I said, do your research, go and see, how much is this selling for? Okay, it's selling for, blah, blah, blah. And don't sell it in the station you buy it for, because those are going to be the lowest prices, because that's where everybody's going to sell them. You want to sell it in the trade hubs. Then make sure you go and look at how many are sold per day, and then compare that to the amount that are up. So if, like, let's say there's 10 sold per day, but there's like 9 million of them on the market, you're going to list it, somebody's going to undercut you, and then you're never going to sell it. So keep an eye on how many are being sold, how many quantity are being sold per day, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And maybe you'll find that there are certain days, like every Friday night, something runs out and then it sells like crazy. Well, that gives like, oh, okay. Well, like if this was cyclical right here, like on April 19th, if the day, like let's say this was a Friday and then the previous Friday and then the previous Friday and all of them, they're selling like 20 at a time, but there's none on the market. Like this is fairly controllable. You could buy all the other ones on Wednesday or Thursday or even all week at a shittier lower price, and then on Friday list them all. They all try to sell at that point for the higher rate, and then you rinse and repeat. So there's a lot of manipulation and stuff like that you can do. You just got to be really careful with it because it runs the risk of burning you. But if you want easy stuff, do things like cap boosters, ammunition, drones, your faction cruisers, frigates, decies, those type of things, convert them, and those sell well. Ammo always sells well. Drones always sell well. For the most part, decies, depending on your faction, catalysts, they always sell well. So I know coercers on Amar side always sell well. Thrashers, people blowing them shits up every fucking day. So do your research. The longer you play, the more you find out what other people are flying, the more you'll know and the more comfortable you'll get in your pricing knowledges, et cetera, et cetera. So what am I going to do over the next day or so? I am going to be getting into a new ship. I don't think I've shown you guys this. Get rid of that. Go here. Did I save it? I did. So on my Amar alt, I have been running this bad boy. I do need to get destroyers too. Which is going to be, I think, let's see, what is it running? Okay, that's actually pretty cheap, and that's the remote inject. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and do that. I could have saved money there if I went and actually did it, but I'm kind of lazy. For the last week or so, I've been working on beefing up my drone skills. Or not my drone skills, my gun skills, because they were kind of shit. Well, if I could just type. Probably just easier to do destroyer. So I've raised up my gun skills a little bit. I'm probably still trash, but there we go. The goal is this ship is significantly better than what I was using prior. It's pretty cheap, respectively. I mean, if you do the conversion, it's damn cheap, right? If I actually pay for it, then obviously it's 18 million a piece. But if I do the conversion, it's only going to run me like 1 million, 2 million, I think it was. I don't see my math off the top of my head now, but yeah, it was like 1 or 2 million. But this thing, and this is pretty low damage actually with gun skills, but it does 324 DPS. You can get this up to like, I think it's like 600 or so with really top end gun skills. It has an active rep on it, which you can actually, load with your nanite paste. That'll keep you up. You can overheat if you want. You got to be really careful with overheating on catalysts and all destroyers because you have a shit ton of guns in the high slot, which will just burn them out real fucking fast. But this thing eats plexes. So smalls, not a problem. Mediums, not a problem. My guy on Amar can do larges with no problem. Solo, obviously as a new player, probably want to stick to smalls at least initially, but if I can get this ship fit and I can get it running, I gotta wait for Galente Destroyer to go through, but if I can get this thing fit and good, we can Oplex, and I only have to Oplex, I mean, like if we're making 35,000 LP per site, let's see. So 35,000 LP per site. Let's say we're making 750 ISK per. That's 26 million per site that we run. So 26,250. What's the cost of Plex right now? Plex. We'll do that in Jitta because that'll give us a cheaper price. So it's 4.46. So let's see. 4,660,123 times 500. That's 2.3 billion ISK. And then 2.3 billion ISK divided by 26,250,123 equals 88 sites. 88 sites. That's of course assuming I only get a 750 ISK return. If I can get a higher return rate than that, I think the Catalyst was pulling. Was it the Catalyst that was pulling it, or was it the drones? I think the drones were pulling 850. So if I could sell the drones at 850, that might even be better. So I'll have to do the math, but I'll show you guys what we end up doing and how I end up doing it so you can kind of follow in the footsteps. Keep in mind, if you're playing on the same side, doing the same thing I'm doing, once I do it, you know, if 1,000 people watch it and 500 of them try to do the same thing, it'll probably kill the price, but it'll at least show you. I showed you the process and kind of the math behind it, et cetera, et cetera. I went way longer on this video than I probably should have, but it gives you an idea. So goal today is to go run sites, maybe convert some antimatter or a catalyst or some hobgobs until I can afford to fly this ship. The ship's going to be pretty pricey. It's going to be probably 30 or 40 million a piece. But if I can get the catalyst for, because the catalyst is 19 million, I can get that catalyst for 2, and one site, literally one site, will pay for the catalyst, because, you know, we're just converting the LP direct. And we're good to go. So we'll see how it runs. Anyways, folks, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. If you want to see a spreadsheet with some of this basic setup, let me know. I can create that and leave it up for you guys somewhere. If there's something you want me to cover, something that I covered that's wrong, if you want to just point out how retarded I am when it comes to doing the math, and then I got lost in the middle of my own video doing the thing that I was doing the whole video for when it came to doing the calculator, feel free. Other than that, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you guys like this video. If you did, slap that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next clip.